and I'm back with my Thoughtful Thursdays. Thoughtful Thursdays are all the interesting conversations that I have with people during the week. Things that have struck a thought in my mind and set me thinking. And what has struck my mind is all the articles and conversations that I've been having with brands, business leaders, is about empathy. And if I look at the newspapers, especially with Economic Times and the brand equity articles, it's about empathy. So what is empathy? Empathy is a complex, nuanced attribute and emotion. Have you really understood what empathy means? And that actually set me thinking and said that let me go back to the psychology books. And Carl Rogers, who is the father of humanistic psychology, talks about empathy where you actively listen to a person, understand the thoughts and feelings, and acknowledge them. But that's not what the point is, to talk about the definition of empathy. But he goes on to say that it takes one person to start an empathetic conversation. And that is what I want to talk about. And today the empathetic conversation is what brands need to have with their consumers. And why am I harping on this empathetic conversation? Because empathy talks to humanity. And we have heard the phrase, empathy begets empathy. What does that really mean? If empathy talks to humanity, then we need to listen from our heart to the heart of the other person without judgment. And that actually goes beyond the beliefs and attitudes of people. And Carl Rogers says that empathy has the power to neutralize differences and tensions. And if that is a thing, I want to talk about a story of Chirag. Chirag actually called me from one of the retail stores that I go to. And out of the blues, he said, "Ma'am, do you remember me? You actually shopped with us and I helped you." And I said, "Yeah, Chirag." And he didn't go around trying to tell me that, why don't you come back shopping? He actually spent time talking to me, trying to understand what I have been going through during this lockdown. And that was an empathetic conversation. And in the process, I started speaking to him. I remember Chirag even after 4 weeks. And we discussed Chirag. And that is why I want you to leave with the phrase that empathy begets empathy. But that's not enough. If brands want to talk the language of empathy, I read that empathy needs to be practiced. And Mary Gordon, who runs the successful program called Roots of Empathy, she actually does role playing with children. And actually they get a baby and they try and children try and understand what are the thoughts, feelings, and identify the emotions that the baby is going through. And understanding the language of empathy. So they are practicing empathy. And that is why I said that empathy is a complex, nuanced emotion. And if brands today are talking empathy, do they understand the language of empathy? Do they understand that there has to be empathy in action and it needs to be practiced? So to start an empathetic conversation, brands need to make the first move. Because empathy begets empathy. If you like what I say and you want to know more, like, share, and comment on all our social media handles.